Welcome to Tar Heel Monsters, everybody. If you were directed here through a link on my other channel, Miss Lola's Hair and More, thank you so much for joining me. If you like my content, and I hope that you do, please subscribe, like, and share my videos. And don't forget to comment. I've done a few of these true crime stories, and for the most part, I feel like justice has been rewarded to the perpetrator of the crime. But this story troubles me on a larger level because I truly believe that justice was denied the victim in this story. Did the punishment fit the crime? Let me know in the comments. I'll be waiting to hear from you. Mr. Bob, please tell us what happened.
Yes, ma'am. On a steamy summer morning in Salisbury, North Carolina, police were called after 17-year-old Brittany Lorritts was found murdered in her blood-stained bed. Brittany's room appeared ransacked. Drawers were strewn about. Contents littered the floor. Her parents' bedroom also looked ravaged, but nothing was taken. Early on, police concluded that the crime scene was staged. At first appearances, it looked like a burglary, but there were items still in the home that a burglar would have taken. Police interviewed Brittany's mother, Angela, and her stepfather, Reggie Weeks Junior. Weeks told police that he entered the home through the front door, which was unlocked, and hollered for Brittany because her bedroom door was closed. When she did not answer, he opened the door and found her lying on the bed. He went to her and noticed all the blood and knew something was terribly wrong. Ligature marks were on Brittany's neck. A nearby clothes hanger glistened with her blood. A deep stab wound to the right side of her neck had soaked blood into the bed. Most likely, she was still conscious after the strangulation. When the suspect saw this, he stabbed her for good measure to make sure she was dead. Why all the brutality and overkill on such a young victim? A terrible dark secret would reveal the answer. Salisbury, North Carolina is a quiet historic town halfway between Greensboro and Charlotte. Cold-blooded murder was rare. The community was known for lots of performing arts, theater, music, and their own orchestra. Located in the buckle of the Bible Belt, it was also a very religious community with more than 250 churches. When Brittany was 12 years old, her mother married Reggie Weeks Junior, a deacon at her church. He and his family were extremely devout and attended church almost daily. The Weeks family operated a construction company that had been around for years and were well thought of in the community. At the time of her murder, Brittany had just graduated from high school and was very excited about a world of possibilities that her future held. She was smart and talented, loved to laugh and to make others laugh, although lately she had become a loner, staying at home most of the time. She had even slackened off visiting her stepsister, Brittany Lorritts, at their father Rod's home. They had always been best friends despite living in separate households. Asti, as well as the rest of the family, was devastated and wanted to know who would commit such a grisly murder of her much-loved, church-going sister. Brittany's biological father, Rod Lorritts, was one of the first to be questioned. Police located him in another town an hour and a half away. Authorities eliminated him extremely early in the investigation. It was obvious that he cared deeply for his daughter and was distraught over her murder. Reggie Weeks gave the name Braden, a boy Brittany was seeing. He and his wife didn't approve because Braden was possessive and tried to control Brittany. On her graduation day, he intruded on his daughter's celebration because he knew she no longer wanted to be with him. The first line of thinking by police was that maybe something got out of hand with the boyfriend. Police interviewed Braden and concluded that he did not possess the diabolical heart to have executed the vicious murder of Brittany Lorritts. Investigators began canvassing the neighborhood and found a witness who supposedly saw someone behind the family's house. "Yeah, I saw somebody behind the garage." It was probably the same guy that killed that girl up the street back in the 80s. In 1984, the homicide of a 15-year-old girl occurred in the general neighborhood. The crime was never solved. Many people in the community were still concerned about that case. Next, investigators turned to Brittany's mother, but she wouldn't talk to police. She stopped cooperating with them and hired a lawyer. Did Angela Weeks have something to hide, or was she just a heartbroken mother? Brittany was 15. She had invited Lewis Wilson over one afternoon. He was her first serious boyfriend. They were snuggling on the couch when her mother and Reggie Weeks suddenly burst in.
What is that in my house? You know better than to bring that in my house.
He's not a that. His name is Lewis and I love him.
Whatever it is you two got going on, consider it officially over. That boy's bad news. Did you know your boyfriend's got a criminal record? He's not welcome in my house. Ever.
When stepfather Reggie Weeks Junior entered Brittany's life, he started controlling her. She was often kept at home. He wouldn't allow her to go on dates. Eventually, she started shunning her friends, despite once being very sociable and outgoing. Reggie had even taken her to her high school prom. His reason for being so strict was always that she was too young. Brittany was 12 when she knocked on her mother's bedroom door. She came into the room and sat down on the bed beside her mother.
Sweetie, is something wrong?
I'm okay, Mom.
You can't fool me.
Oh, Mommy,
What is it? What's wrong?
I've got something to tell you.
It's okay, you can tell me anything.
Mom, please don't be angry. I'm so sorry. I think I'm pregnant. I'm so sorry. It wasn't my fault.
What do you mean it wasn't your fault? Who is?
Angela Weeks couldn't say the word.
It's gonna be okay. We'll take care of it. Everything's gonna be all right, princess, I promise.
12-year-old Brittany had an abortion but didn't tell her mother who the father was, and her mother kept the pregnancy a secret. Police were no closer to finding Brittany's killer when Brittany's best friend came into the station with an explosive revelation. A detective showed her into an interrogation room and seated her across the table from him. The young woman spoke nervously.
I think I know who killed Brittany Lorritts, but I'm afraid to tell you because he might kill me too.
The officer assured her that she didn't need to worry. Please just tell me who murdered your friend.
He's been raping her since she was 12 years old. He got her pregnant and she had to have an abortion. She told me he was the father. I told her that she should tell somebody, but she was too scared. She was afraid of what her mother might think of her.
The detective interrupted. Who is it? Who was raping her?
It was Reggie, her stepfather.
This disturbing information turned the spotlight on Reggie Weeks Jr. as a suspect in Brittany's violent murder. Investigators found a fatal flaw in his description of finding Brittany. He had told them that he had cradled Brittany when he found her and said he was covered in blood from the waist up, that his entire shirt was covered in blood. Upon examining photographs in the newspaper from the day of the murder outside the home, police noticed that Reggie, who was consoling his wife Angela, did not have any blood or stains on his shirt like he said he had. 47-year-old Reginald Carlton Weeks Jr. was arrested a month later on August 15, 2005, and charged with first-degree murder and first-degree rape in the death of his 17-year-old stepdaughter, Brittany Lorritts. His $500,000 bond was later revoked by Judge David Lee. He was returned to jail and an evidence hearing was scheduled for March 27, 2006. District Attorney Bill Kennelly said Weeks was eligible for the death penalty if convicted because it is alleged that the murder was committed during the commission of another felony, a first-degree rape. At a hearing in Rowan County Superior Court, relatives of the Weeks and Lorritts families filled 4 rows of wooden benches in the courtroom and sat quietly and listened. Investigators accumulated more incriminating evidence. Court documents and an autopsy report showed Brittany had been strangled, sexually assaulted, and stabbed in the neck. A sexual assault evidence kit tested positive for semen that matched Reggie's DNA. Reggie said he stopped at his home with his father about 4:15 p.m. on July 11th and found Brittany dead in her bedroom, but couldn't account for his whereabouts for 3 hours that morning when it was alleged that Brittany was murdered. Rod Lorritts, Brittany's father, told the court that when he spoke with Reggie after his daughter's murder, the first thing Reggie said to him was, "I think she died a peaceful death." To me, that was kind of weird. I was thinking, how would he even know that if he wasn't there? The state proffered the motive for Brittany's homicide. Reggie Weeks lost his temper when Brittany Lorritts finally said no and stood up to him after all the years of sexual abuse. He lost control and didn't know how to handle it. Then he got scared, realizing that his precious reputation would be ruined once his family, church, and community found out that he was a pedophile of the vilest sorts. In criminal court, Reggie Weeks Jr. entered an Alford plea, which allowed him to plead to the lesser charges of second-degree murder and second-degree rape without actually admitting guilt. He maintained his innocence, but acknowledged that evidence against him could result in him being found guilty at trial. The two charges were consolidated, resulting in a sentence of only 9 years for the second-degree rape and murder of his stepdaughter Brittany Lorritts. He was convicted on January 15, 2008, and released from Piedmont Correctional Institution, a medium custody prison in Salisbury, North Carolina, 7 years later, on January 20, 2015. Young Brittany was a helpless victim, forced to endure an unspeakable act for years that finally led to her unthinkable brutal murder.
There are lots more true crimes here in North Carolina that I'm going to spotlight here on Tar Heel Monsters. So make sure, if you've not done so already, to subscribe to my channel. Like, share, tell others, and of course, hit that notification bell so that you will always know when I'm uploading a new true crime story.